All right, I'm going to go through three different sections, anticipating taking about 5 minutes per each, and I'm getting my controls set up. So we'll do questions after Steve and I work through this material. Lots to talk about. Happy to take questions, but I'm going to try to click through and get through these slides pretty quickly. So again, we're going to do this in three parts. The first is just to talk about very simple application of model by watershed, which really doesn't involve models at all. But then we'll talk about the two models that are available in this mapping tool. Okay, so the first part of this series is to talk about using Model by Watershed as a mapping tool. And if you go to modelmywatershed.org, you'll come to this screen, and this is where we start. If you want to navigate quickly to a particular location, you can use the address bar in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And once you've found the area that you're interested in, you'll start to explore the layers that are down on the bottom of the screen. And this starts with stream layers. There are three different stream layers in Model My Watershed that you can visualize one at a time. Of course, the Delaware data is only available in the Delaware River Basin, and you'll see differences between the resolution of these different stream layers. On the layer button at the bottom, there's also a coverage grid. Clicking on that coverage grid will give you access to a large number of different layers that you can view. Land use layers starting in 2019, going back to 2011, a soils layer, elevation, slope, precipitation, temperature, protected lands, active river area, and then a series of layers specific to the Delaware River Basin, followed by Pennsylvania urbanized areas and municipalities. So clicking on each of these layers will give you a visual. You can control the opacity of that layer using the slider tool that's right next to the coverage grid word in the bottom of the screen. Also note that there's an information icon next to each of these layers, which will give you a legend for understanding what the different colors mean within a layer. So that's the coverage grid. Just to the right of that is an icon for boundaries. And this series of layers includes three predefined USGS-defined watershed units, also county lines, congressional districts, and school districts. So you can explore those layers by turning them on and off. Next to the boundaries at the very bottom of the screen are observations, and this will show you weather stations that are being used within Model My Watershed models, which we'll talk about later. And finally, there's a base maps layer in which you can turn on topography, satellite imagery, and terrain, just as you would in any kind of Google Maps or other mapping interface. So those are ways to simply explore what's on the surface of the earth around you. But at this point, we want to get started with some more specific ways to visualize your watershed or your area of interest. And there are four ways to do this. I'm going to focus right now on delineating a watershed because in many cases, this is what's most relevant to you. You are probably interested in the land use upstream of a point on a river or a stream. And that's what we use the delineate watershed feature for. Now, if you're in the Delaware watershed, you can use the Delaware high resolution watershed for delineating. But otherwise, if you're outside the Delaware, you'll use the continental US medium resolution data. So selecting that continental US medium or the Delaware high resolution data, and then dropping a point anywhere on the map. It does not have to be on a blue line representing a stream. It can be in landscape. And you'll notice that there's a little wheel on the left that's going to turn as the model's working. And your point that you clicked will also be noted on the map. In a matter of moments, the delineation will complete, and you'll be given an information page on the left-hand side summarizing all of those features which are in that watershed. Note on the map itself, we have the record of where you clicked. That's the purple point, and the blue point is the nearest stream downslope of the point that you clicked. Now at this point, you can change any of the layers to continue to create customized visualizations of what's in that watershed. You can also change the area and go back and change the area that you delineated. But at this point, I want to focus on the information that's summarized on the left-hand side. We see that there are a variety of different tabs on the top. There's streams, land, soil, terrain, climate, point sources, animals, and water quality. Now, again, you can customize your map. You'll notice that in this particular example, you can turn on the layer that's being summarized to better visualize those changes, but you can visualize changes or the distribution of streams. Clicking to the land tab will allow you to visualize the land use and land cover within the watershed that you delineated. But notice that there's a drop-down option to visualize and document in both a bar chart and a table land use, land cover in prior years. So it allows you to see changes over time. What's also useful is that you can see a tab of exactly what land uses and land covers are within that watershed as a breakdown of the percent of the watershed or the area. Notice throughout as you scroll through these various information summaries that in some cases there's an information icon. So please remember to click on that icon for more information about a particular layer or summary that you're seeing. Note that you can also download any of these tables for use outside of Model My Watershed. And that concludes how you can use Model My Watershed as a very simple tool for visualizing what's within a watershed boundary.